Welcome to WPZA maintenance training videos. Today we're going to be going through the iThemes security plugin. There are quite a few plugins out there for security. There's WordFence, there's Securi, and a few others, some better than others. A lot of them have a free version and a pro version. What we use at WPZA, we normally implement iThemes security. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the general iThemes security plugin install. This is the version that you get for free from WordPress itself. Like I said, there is a pro version available for your website. We do offer the pro version as part of our WPZA maintenance service, but I'm just going to take you through a best practice on how to set up WPZA, the iThemes security plugin, and yeah, and we just take it from there. Best practice for the security. I find that it is one of the better ones, and securing your website with a security plugin is just good practice. So after backups and updates, security is the next best thing. Okay, so let's go through the process. First things first, we go through to plugins. We go to add new. iThemes. I have searched for it before. As you can see, I've already got it installed, but I just wanted to take you through the process. So it's exactly the same as all our other plugins. We obey all the rules that are part of it. We look at how many active installs it is, how many people have given it a 5-star rating. So this has got 4.5 stars out of it. It's very, very good, easy instructions on how to set it up. But yeah, so let me take you through the process. So first things first, we activate the plugin. So we activate the plugin. I'll give you this blue bar at the top. We won't be dealing with that right now. So what we do is we go through to, we click on the security plugin on the bottom left hand side. Here we go. And it'll bring up this screen here. Normally it might come up with a pop-up, which is this pop-up here. And this is just like a quick way of just doing the standard features for the plugin. So we say secure site. As you can see here, it asks for to activate for network brute force protection. So that's obviously to protect your site from somebody just using millions of different passwords to try and crack your site. This actually protects you from that. So we just activate the brute force protection. I always put that to receive the mails because there's well, that's pretty exciting. Okay, I don't know why that happened there quickly, but we can see it sorted itself out. It must have been a problem that they had on their side. So what we do is we close that. Now we can go through the standard settings for it. I normally work my way from the top down. So we've got your configure settings, pretty much standard. We can scroll down. Blacklist threshold, the lockout, how long you want people to be locked out for, how many days. I normally just leave that standard. Sometimes if you've got an IP address, maybe a static IP address that you get onto the internet with, it might be good practice to add your IP address to it. What we'll do is I'll add mine, and what that means is every time a site from using my IP address goes through to a surfer that goes through to that IP address from that IP address would automatically be whitelisted and be allowed to go through the site. So it won't be blocked, it won't follow the same rules. It's just good practice to do that. Log type, you just keep it to database. Database logs for 60 days. I normally allow iThemes to track. And normally I'm generally the only admin, but I prefer to actually hide the security from the admin bar. I don't really want everybody to know that I'm using security. Show error codes, no. And we save the settings. There we got the global settings done. What we'll do is we'll come back to the notification center. The notification center is what sends out emails. If there's a problem, if somebody's tried to attempt to log in. What we've done with our sites, we've switched a lot of them off because we run hundreds of websites, and it becomes a bit overwhelming to get all those. But if you just got one site, it's the perfect way to get notified if something's wrong with your website. For detection, that's obviously if somebody's come to your site using a page that's not available, it means they're trying different pages to try to get onto your site. I normally enable that. We go configure the settings, and literally if somebody tries the same URL or the same IP address, tries to access different 404 pages, you can block them for 5 minutes after 20 errors. You've got a few things that are whitelisted, so if people keep hitting those, it's okay. Ignored files, that's fine, and then we save the settings. Away mode. Now, if your site if you only work from 8 to 5, you literally can set your site up to say enable. We go configure the settings, and then from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. the site is completely off. So that means no one can access the site, no one can log it at those times. Be quite careful, make sure that the time that you're seeing here is the exact time, because sometimes the server that is set on may be on a different time zone to yours time zone, and you just got to make sure that it's the same dates and times, else you'll be locked out when you actually want to be working on it. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to disable that. Banned users, literally the same. Normally there's a hackrepair.com which has like quite a few of the standard places that try hack websites. So normally we enable that. Literally save it. That's all you have to do. Now what that does is it writes stuff to your HTA access file to protect the site a lot better. Database backup, configure settings. What this will do is it'll back up your database. Normally I just set it to save locally only. I don't really want to receive an email of the backup. And then every day it will do a backup of the site. Checking this box will have the backup script enabled. Zip databases, enabled scheduled backups, and we can do it every 3 days. And we say save settings. So every 3 days the database gets backed up automatically by iThemes security. If you don't have a backup service or a backup plugin, which we do recommend, we do have a video for that. It's a great way of making sure that your database is at least being backed up. The next one is the file change detection. What that means is there's certain files that WordPress has, and what the system does now is it monitors those files to make sure they don't get changed in a malicious way. So if say there's an index file that is quite common, it'll compare that to what it knows to be the correct version of that document, and make sure that there's no changes. Great little thing to have. I normally enable it. You've also got to check that your server can handle these services, because every single service that you add onto it means your website needs to do a bit more processing. But for smaller sites, we've never really had a problem with the amount of workload it is. Or for much larger sites where we have the pro versions installed, where we do a lot of logging and things like that, then yes, then you really have to, you may have to look at either upgrading the PHP memory limit, or upgrading your server, or maybe limiting the services that you want to have done. Configure settings. Literally, you don't really have to do much here. You can actually exclude certain directories, so we can exclude that one, we can exclude that one, and any other file that folder that you don't want to be scanned. Display file change admin warning, and we say save settings. Pretty simple. File permissions, it's literally just tells you the permissions on the site. As you can see here, it's got most of everything's okay. It's just got two little changes here that need to happen to the HTA access and the WP config, but I'll show you that a little bit later in this video. Okay, next one, local brute force protection. It's literally the same as network brute force protection, but just locally. In another video, we did recommend that you never use the admin account. So what we do is we immediately ban a host that tries to attempt to log on with the admin, and we save those settings. So if anyone tries to use that admin, we automatically block them. The network brute force protection, we actually did that, when we did that first part of the video, the first settings, and now you can do it through here. At the same time, you can reset your API key, things like that. Password requirements. Now sometimes WordPress, some of the old WordPress it allows more simple passwords like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. What this does is it obviously makes sure that they have to use complex passwords, and you can put it to a minimum role. I normally put it to subscriber if it's just a normal website. You can obviously change that because sometimes you have a shop and you don't really want to have them to have really super complex passwords. You just want to give them the opportunity to use pretty standard passwords so that they can purchase your products a lot quicker. We save the settings. SSL. Now SSL is obviously a security certificate. With this, you can force the server, the back end and the front end, to force it to use an SSL certificate. This is really good practice. I haven't enabled SSL on this site just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to disable this part. But you just literally enable it. You go there and you just say press save, and then your site is fully much protected via SSL. System tweaks. I'm just going to enable that quickly. And we go configure the settings. Now we're really getting into like the real nitty-gritty of the site, really doing low-level kind of things to the website protection. So what we can do is we can prevent public access to the README text files, WP config, those kind of files. We can disable directory browsing, so people can't go into just one of your subdirectories and just see what's in there. Filter request method, it filters out trace, delete, and methods. This is obviously with the REST API. Any query strings that seem a bit suspicious, it'll completely block them. Normally WordPress doesn't have any query strings. A query string is when you have the URL at the top and it has like a question mark, and then it says ID equal to whatever or something to that effect. It will filter those out. I obviously don't have an English sitemap. I do have an English sitemap, so I wouldn't have any non-English characters, so I'll filter them out. Long URL, it's exactly the same. Somebody may put in a really long URL that has some malicious code inside of it that sometimes it can get through a backdoor into your database. We just disable that. Now this remove file writing permissions. Remember earlier we saw that the WP config and the HTA access was sitting at 666. We actually want to change it to 444, and all you've got to do is say remove file writing permissions. Disable PHP and upload, so that means no PHP script will run inside the uploads folder, which is always good practice. And the same for the plugins and the themes. What that means is, yes, we have PHP files in there, but sometimes we've found in the past, like somebody will create a JavaScript file that's actually a PHP file or something to that effect, and it's pretty hard to try to track them. I normally disable them by standard, but there are some themes that do require PHP to be working in the thing, so you just got to be a bit careful of those last two. And if you find that your site's not working, then you obviously just disable those, and it may start working again. Everything I'm showing you here is generally the best practice. Sometimes your server may not can't handle this kind of security, and we look at a site on a site-to-site basis. Normally, most sites can. We can pull full security on and it's okay, but other sites we have to just tweak it a little bit to try and make sure it works. We save the settings. WordPress Salts, you can obviously change the salts for your website. This is obviously all part of your cookies and stuff like that to secure your site. I'm not going to change these here, but all you got to do is click on that save. It will log you off, and then you'll have to log back on. You know what? Let's just do it. So I'm going to check this. I'm going to save the settings. Now it's going to log me off the site. It's best practice that it will do that because it's changed it the way that the cookies actually get sent to your machine. So we just go new WPZA and we log back in. Very simple. We're back into the site, and now we're using that new security. I find sometimes you can do it every now and again. It's perfect. Go back into the security. Done the salts. Now we do the WordPress tweaks. Now this is just disabling things inside WordPress. Also exactly the same. I normally just enable most of the things. So I remove the live write, the RSD, reduce comment spam. Great one to have. If you're using Jetpack or those kind of plugins that need XML, then you have to keep this enabled or just disable the pingbacks. But if you're not using anything that requires it, it's just good to switch it off. It stops a lot of attacks via the back end. We block all authentication, multiple authentications through the XML RPC. We restrict access to the REST API because we're not using it. I disable login error messages. So if there's a problem, normally if you put in a username and password, it'll say your password's incorrect or your username is incorrect. This will just give you nothing. So if somebody is trying to hack your site, they can't get in because they don't really know what the problem is. Force unique nickname. So when you're setting up your user, you put in your first name, your last name, and those kind of things. But now what happens is you have a username, a display name, and then you have a nickname. This has to be completely unique, and it's just good practice to have. Disable authors page if they don't have any posts in their name. Alter blank, which is the target equals blank. That literally it's tab napping. So what that underscore blank, if you click on a link that's that, it'll actually open in a new tab, or for an older browser, it'll open in a new window. So I just normally just have that protection on. Login with email address or username. This you can obviously change to email address only or user address only. I just leave it at default. And this last one exactly the same. So we just say save settings, and now literally you see I've set up the whole site just using the basic, almost setting everything up. The site's still running, everything's okay. The last thing we want to go check is we want to go check the notification center. Like I said earlier, if you've just got the one site, I would suggest that you keep the notifications running. For me, because I run multiple sites, I normally switch them off. Or you could have a security digest and maybe just send it weekly. So once a week it sends me a security digest on the site, but I'm just going to switch that off. Lockouts, I'm exactly the same. If somebody's been locked out of the site, I just switch it off. But like I said, if you're running just one site, maybe keep them running and you'll be able to get those error messages. Don't be too alarmed if you get those messages. It's not a bad thing that you're getting those messages. It just means that it's working. So if you're getting a site lockout notification, it means somebody's been blocked. And if you start worrying about that, you're going to be worrying a lot, because there could be hundreds in a day, and then you could go weeks with nothing. So it's just if somebody's trying to get onto your site at that specific time, they may have lots of lockout notifications. We save the settings. And literally that's iThemes security. This is the free plugin that you get. It generally blocks most things, but if you scroll down here, you can see some of the advanced features that you have. Magic links, that's obviously if it sends an email with the magic link to blog back into the site. I normally don't use that. Malware scan, so what it does is it scans your site for malware. I use that plugin a lot. ReCAPTCHA, I've got another video on reCAPTCHA where it adds reCAPTCHA through to your logins. I've got a video where you can just have that, or you could use this for it, but you'd have to buy the pro version. Import export, if you've got multiple sites, you can just export the features from this one, import into another one. Two-factor authentication, which is a great little add-on. So it creates a verification error code at the bottom, and then when you try log into the site, it'll send a code through to your email address, and then you put in the verification code and log in. Very, very simple. User security check, what that does is it just checks your users to see what security they have and how to improve on it. User logging, great, because you literally can track anything that's happening on the site. If a subscriber logs in, logs out, if somebody installs a plugin, everything gets logged there. And the last one is version management. Version management, you can control your plugins, your themes, it'll update it automatically, or if you don't want it to update automatically, it'll protect your site while you're testing the updates for it. And literally, that's it. There are some advanced features where you can change the database table prefix. This is beyond the scope of this video, but literally you can hide the backend. These are things that used to be very important, but they're not that important anymore. And all you really got to do is just worry about the recommended things. But listen, guys, that's iThemes security in a nutshell. Like I said, it's not the only plugin out there for security. Another one that we use quite extensively is WordFence. We do use Security for some of our sites. For our more high-end sites, we use Security. But general for the run-of-the-mill sites, WordPress, WooCommerce. I think we've only got one client that's not on iThemes Security. But yes, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like our channel, please subscribe. If you like our video, please like. And we do have quite a few videos on various aspects of WordPress and how to better improve the security and performance of your site. Listen, guys, have a great day. Chat soon. Cheers.